Hey y'all, we're back. We're out in the garage. It's Friday, February 25th. So it's only been a few days since the lathe video where I was running that thing out here. We've got both of those stubs that I was talking about. The one I was cutting still in there. This is the one I sent to Richard, and he's working on that porch. When we get the porch back tonight, he's going to bring it home tonight. We'll determine the angle of the dangle here, and we'll go ahead and I'll even show you how we do the notching with the tubing. We use a hole saw, and that's actually a good one because it went right through that chrome moly without hopping, skipping, or jumping or anything. So usually you'll get a little bouncing around because the drill press it's not a mill, right? So there is a little slop in the shaft when you start to bringing it down. You'll see there's a little movement there, right? Up here, nothing. But once you start, dropping her down, she does move a little bit. But what we do is we use the drill bit as a guide to kind of, like the end stock, kind of helps you. Listen, it's not rocket science. We're notching tubes and we weld it up. A thousandth here, a thousandth there, 10 thousandths here or there. Doesn't really make a heck of a lot of difference when it comes to welding things together. Here we are. We got the motor sitting on there. And the motor mount is literally just clamped so tight that it won't move. What I did is I got the digital angle finder and set it on the axle and zeroed it out. And then went ahead and clamped the mount down, snugged it down, and set the angle finder on there and zeroed it in so it's level with the axle itself. No matter what's going on with the stand, whether it's level or not. And then set the engine on. It's completely adjustable. Obviously, we're gonna have to either notch tube or we're gonna put flat plate across here like Margate originally did back in the day. Don't know what we're gonna do with that yet. A flat plate obviously gonna be quicker and easier to do, but we can notch tubes to fit in there. No big deal, one on either end. But what we really just wanted to do here was see where are we sitting here. And like I said, the motor mount, as you can see, there's extra bolt holes that'll move this bad boy over. And then it'll slide back and forth on these tubes once we get everything welded to the chassis. So it's adjustable front and back for chain tension and right and left, to get it inboard. But I think we're pretty good. I mean, we're inside. We might want to go in just a little bit more, just because once we get the body work built up in here. I mean, it's not going to have a regular side panel. It's going to have some cool looking stuff. You're really going to like how it looks. When it's done. I already know what it looks like. I've already got it up here, right? It's all up here. But the pipe needs some work, right? We're gonna have to talk to Bob and say, Bob, what do you think? Can we cut on the pipe or not? If we can't, I'll call that four-stroke guy that I bought the tubing from to make my own U-shaped tubes for the exhaust on the ICC, and we can just have him send us pieces. And I can just weld it together myself. Obviously, this is not going to work. We don't want heat blowing onto our brakes. Asked my dad back in the day, right? The old FKE in 1971, 72, 73 at Road Atlanta. The pipe mount broke and the exhaust was blowing right onto the brake rotor. Back then, no front brakes on really pretty much anything. Very, very seldom did you see four-wheel brakes on everything, but this was a full-bodied FKE, right? And so the brakes, the rotor overheated, and he didn't have any brakes. We don't want any of that. We to tell you the truth, I'd like to cut this thing twice. I'd like to cut it here and get this a little more straight. Maybe just to get it away from the tire, maybe on an angle, and then cut it again. Say here, cut it here, and cut it here. And then rotate this thing more out the back of the car, because we do have something in the works for the back of the car as body work. We do have some. I'm giving you a little. I'm letting the cat out of the bag here a little bit. We got a little idea of what we're going to be doing here. You see how we're going down here? Little idea of what we're going to do here, and then of course up front as well. It may not be the most aerodynamic. But like I said, we're not building a competition vehicle. If it gets around the track, cool, which it should, and it'll look good doing it, and that's what it's all about. Especially we're getting new guys to look into this hobby, this sport. That's what you want. You want to get them into something that looks really cool, and that's part of getting people hooked. You know, I always say it's a fashion show out there. I'm not joking, man. I'm not kidding. It is a fashion show. That's why my shoes and my suit match my helmet and my gloves, and everything matches the cart. And and that's just how it is. That's just how it is. I mean, everything's got to look the same. I can't believe guys wear a blue suit with red shoes, black gloves, and a plain white wrapper helmet, and their cart's green. It just doesn't make any damn sense to me, you know. But there you go. You got to look the part. The kids at the racetrack will always remember the best looking go-kart, even if it isn't the fastest one. So we've got a little bit of work to do. But I think we have an idea of what we're going to do here. The motor can actually go back a little bit if it had to, but we don't want to go any further forward to that without having to cut that pan tab off. So if we got to cut a hole in a floor tray or something, you're going to want some support as close to the hole as possible. So that's real close. The outer tube that we're going to attach to the chassis is pretty much in the position you want it. It could go forward just a little bit, but we're not going to get too crazy technical with it. I think that's going to do it right there. Like I said, we could always go back a little bit if we needed, for chain, different gearing or whatever. And then if we needed to go forward, we could always just knock that pan tab off of there and metal finish the chassis and use the rest of the movement there. But that's it. I got nut bar. The nut bar, what we're going to do with the nut bar here, I'm going to have to try and set you down here. Maybe I can get you right here, put you on the old chain guard. And this is the same thing I've got going on in my cart. Not quite as big, bulky, heavy, but you've got a tube that gets welded to the chassis, and it won't be this long. And then you've got a tube that goes inside, and then it's actually pin bolted. We weld a nut on the top, and we'll put a 5/8 Heim joint on the top. Hang on, let me grab it here. Right, so you get a 5/8 Heim joint, 5/8 thread. You will weld a thicker nut in the end of the tube, and then this will be like a jam nut, right? So if this was in fact what we were going to do, and you wanted to put, say, a smaller fella in it, you take the bolt out the bottom that holds this tube in, and all you do is just rotate this bad boy, right? And you move the Heim joint up and down. That way you don't have to tear the whole front end apart. You don't have to take the tie rods off the front end parts or anything to adjust the steering up and down for different sized people. Trying to make these adjustments quick because we want to get as many people. If we've got 3 guys, we want to be able to get them through, especially in a morning practice. If we're at a racetrack, if they're already entered the race, there's no insurance issue. They can drive anything, right? We can take sprint kart guys that drive 4 strokes, like Robert Odell and his brother, and get them in a laydown car to get them to turn a couple laps. So they can, they're already kind of laid back, but they're not laying flat down, and this will give them maybe a reason to build one of these things and then going to Daytona. It's a long trip from Detroit to Daytona, and to go all the way down there to run around a big super speedway in a go-kart you're sitting up in, just to me doesn't make any sense. Same motor with no restriction, no rev limiter on a sprint enduro or a flat enduro. You're going to go 20 mile an hour faster laying down, full 20 mile an hour, man, maybe 10 or 15, but you get the idea. So that's where we're going with this. We got, like I said, we got the nut bar deal done here. We're working on that motor mount. Let me re-grip here. Sorry. And we got the porch coming together. So this weekend, we should have the front end on. We should get this stuff welded on and good to go. And oh, hey, look, we got a crossbar across the rear as well. We notched some stubs, like we mentioned. And this is a chrome moly piece of tubing. But it is separated there where those clamps are, so we've got a tunable rear end device as well. So all that's done. All this stuff's lined up, ready to get final tune in and and a little cut and grinding, and we'll get this stuff all welded together this weekend. So next week, it'll start looking a lot more like a go-kart, man. We're gonna need a seat. I gotta go over to Rich's. I got 2 molds over there for lay-down seats, and we're gonna have to bust out a seat, so we can start mocking all that up too, and how to mount it, and what we're gonna do. I think we're just gonna go with a large seat, and if we get smaller guys, then we're gonna have to bring some padding or something to the racetrack to stuff in around them, to make them comfortable as best we can. So that's it for now. Pretty cool, huh? She's coming together. Won't be long now. We only got about 5 weeks until the cutoff time. 6 weeks until we're actually at the track. We'll make it. We may not. She may not get a full dressed body work, but we'll have a cart that'll go. We'll get the chassis all built up, and we'll get some paint on it too. But we're gonna take what the Lord will give us at this point. But that's it, folks. She's coming along. I like it. God bless y'all. Godspeed. We're praying for you.